After weeks of political gamesmanship, press conferences, thinly veiled threats, and meaningless rhetoric, the Congress finally passed a bill to ostensibly avoid the so-called fiscal cliff. Of course, the real fiscal crisis remains with us. And now that the GOP has capitulated to most of the White House's demands, they have just one more chance to sell real reform to the American people. And they better start quick. This fiasco has been all about what I've dubbed press release politics, or PRP. It's a simple strategy. Do something so you can tell your constituents that you did something and hope they don't realize or understand that you actually did nothing. Progressives are great at this, especially when they throw big money at chronic problems. They create new government programs or agencies and blue ribbon commissions. So-called fiscally conservative members of Congress have also been perfecting their PRP skills for years. This fight may be ending, but a new one is beginning over the $16.4 trillion debt ceiling that was reached over the holidays. Most observers agree that the GOP will have more leverage in that fight to push through the spending cuts that were missing in the New Year's deal. But time is short. Without the specter of an election hanging over the Congress, these next few months may be the last chance for the GOP to regain some credibility and fight for real reform. The GOP needs a discernible, saleable plan, not for Harry Reid or for the president, but for the American people. They need to start hitting singles and doubles and getting on base. It's the only way for them to stay in this game that they're presently losing badly. Progressives believe that when people earn money, government should decide how much those earnings they are allowed to keep. Conservatives believe that when people earn money, they should decide how much government should be allowed to have. This is a key distinction between the two competing forces in American politics. Unfortunately, for too long, both parties have adopted the progressive view of the relationship between government and the taxpayer. The latest fiscal cliff deal is evidence of that. This generation of Republican leadership has just one last chance to reframe the debate about the size, scope, and impact of government. And that campaign must start today. Democrats are ready for the battle, and the GOP must be ready to respond with town halls in every district in America. With television advertising, targeted mail, roundtable discussions, conferences, and a robust digital strategy, including social media, to help educate Americans about the need for reducing the size and burden of government on all of us. We need to see rallies for reform in town squares, much like we saw in 2009. Americans need to understand that this isn't just a fight about their money. It's a fight about their freedom and their future. Republicans should take a page out of Obama's book by going big enough to allow some room to soften their approach if necessary, while still attempting to advance a meaningful reform agenda. They should pass a series of focused, clean bills that have real bottom-line impact for the government and consequently every American, defined in dollars and cents. The reform agenda must be easily explained in terms of value and direct benefit for the middle class, and in so doing, box in the Democrats to rejecting common sense reform. How many Americans realize that the federal government has doubled in its outlays in just the last 10 years? How many know that there's their real cumulative tax burden? The safe bet is not many. Fiscal conservatives have to change that. In a series of clean bills passed by the House, the GOP should propose a variety of measures, including scaling back the federal budget to 2006 levels, a balanced budget amendment, common sense changes to make Social Security sustainable, and meaningful Medicaid reform. They should begin by repealing the 20 or so Obamacare taxes totaling over $500 billion and craft a measure to permanently protect family farms and small family-owned businesses from estate taxes once and for all. They need to give individual filers the flatter, simpler tax code they want. Setting the spending baseline at 2006 levels alone could reduce the deficit by as much as 75%. The GOP has one last chance to be seen as willing and able to solve the problem. No more press release politics. No more phony plans. No more nebulous agendas. If Republicans can't come together to sell a reform agenda over the next few months, they will telegraph to the nation and to the world that they have yielded to the progressives' relentless march toward American statism. The party will continue to lose clout with the voter, and all of us will pay a heavy price. Thank you for watching. Follow me on Twitter at TJ Basile.